Hello everyone, I have a piece of code in Laravel that actually lists down all the featured user for a social networking site to admin user. So this is the output. So it's actually lists down all the things based on different criteria and so on. It's loading 1225 records from database. To do that, it's actually using 2453 queries, 7392 model height rate, and 47 of megabyte of memory, and it totally takes almost 7 seconds. Now this piece of code is not written in the optimized way. From this code, actually I rewrite based on my knowledge. I improve from 2453 queries to 4 queries, and from 7392 model height rate to 150 model height rate. If I look into the memory uses, it was previously 47 megabyte, right now is 2 megabyte. Previously it was almost 7 seconds, now is 103 milliseconds. This is a huge improvement in terms of performance. So I will show you how I did this one. Hope you will enjoy this video. Let's get started. We have a code in Laravel that is actually fetching some sort of information that's user, whether they are featured or not, fetching this information from the database and visualize for the admin user. The application is containing around 5,000 total users, and this page is actually getting around 1200 users record and dumping everything one page without pagination, right? Definitely it's not well written optimized code. Let's see how much we can improve this piece of code. If we open this project in the VS Code, and definitely I want to see the route. First of all, there's a route user featured specified by country, and then there is a controller, and yeah, let's go into this controller. If I go there, there's only one method. It's called show user featured. It's take a request, and then it takes segments, which means whatever we pass here is actually get here and check with some condition, and if it is met, providing some queries and getting all the records, and provide a static text and return it here. Else if condition, and it's a Singapore doing pretty much the same thing, return it here, which means it's actually checking whether this segment is actually expected things or not, and then do some sort of queries and return it to the view. And finally, I think this is called default. So if none of them are matching, and then it's come here and then literally doing the same thing, which means Malaysia is default country, and then return. I'm not so sure. Immediately I can see here this is unnecessary things, because if I have this one here and this is actually return and this code never ever executed, there is some kind of a duplication. This piece of code is identical with this piece of code, and this one, all of them are actually identical, but based on the different countries, and every time if else is returned to the view, which doesn't make sense. All right, can I see the view? So it's a blade, come here, and I can see it's checking if the user is not empty, then assign a I starting with 1, then for each with this user featured, and if user featured is man, so gender is actually man, then printed out something. That's a carbon. Doing some sort of checking. Okay. I can see that temp photo, I think it's a relationship, and this is also relationship. I mean, I can see that obviously the biggest problem, if I go to this view and it's actually loading around 1200 plus records, right, in one page, that is not performance, first of all. And secondly, I can feel that this image and user city is actually coming from the relationship data, which means it can be eager loaded. If I go here and see, none of here, I can see there's no relationship loading. Let's say I want to see is there any relationship defined. Yeah, it's something called user, and temp user. Immediate reflection, why not we add with these two here? Maybe I just want to see that what is the immediate reaction and how much we can improve from here. I just want to write this one to every single queries. All right, I copied everything and I want to see that next, if I run this one, how much we can improve. It's a huge improvement. So which means it's all about n+1 issue. All right, so this is the first improvement that we can do it, but look at that, still it is a performance issue. The memory is increased to 50 megabyte right now. Although processing time is around 378 milliseconds from almost 8 seconds, but still look at the model hydration is 14,000. So which means it's also still seen, I can see the performance issue. Now, these are the first things that we can improve. Secondly, I want to optimize this code that's written in the controller. Look at this. I'm not really happy and it's some spaghetti code somehow. It's like puzzled everywhere. So what I can do here, let's actually write a new method. Put it here. I want to put side by side so you can look into the improvement. Let's say I create a new method. Let's index. If I look into the right hand side, immediately what is the first things they are doing here is getting the segment, right? Because this segment is actually using checking some other places. So what I want to do, I just copy this one and let's say put it segment. I just store it here and I don't have request. Why not? Request. What next I can do? I can see that every country is here. Look at this name actually using somewhere. So instead of using if else, I'm planning to put every country's name in an array. For example, countries. This one take as a key of an array and that could have values. So what the values? The first of all, it could have a name. Name is actually, I want to put it here because this one is the real human readable title name, right? And then next, look at here, is featured in, there is something, right? So this name needs to put it somewhere. So I would say maybe featured in. That's it. For every country, I want to put it like this way. Now look at here, I transform everything except home. Home has something different. Home name is home, featured in null, featured home true. Featured home is not equal 0, which means it somehow is something setting, which means true, I would say. Next, what I'm thinking, I need to set a default country. Why I'm thinking to set a default country? If you check, that's home, and then default country is Malaysia. Look at this. This is the code where default country is Malaysia. So in that case, my idea is I want to create something called country data and then countries. Put the name of segment that's I'm getting from the user. This one, right? Country name from the URL. If it's this segment is exist in this key, that would be the country data. Otherwise, use the default country. Countries, that is Malaysia. Malaysia is our default country, right? This is the first approach that I can do. Now, next, what I need to do, I need to write some queries to get this information, right? Because look at this, these, all of these are actually identical, just wrapping by some sort of if else, right? I need to write a base query equal to user where. What is the common behavior? The common behavior I can see, if I look into here, the common behavior is featured, one of them definitely is not equal to 0, which means is feature cannot be 0. I think it's everywhere same. Yeah, so why not? This is my base query because all of the queries has same sort of conditions, right? The next, if you look into the home condition, I've realized that home condition has something called special if we are checking whether featured home not equal 0, which means it's featured in home. So this is the first things we need to distinguish comparing to other logic. Here is home is not concerned, right? If we look into other queries, home is not major things. So what I need to do if is set if this one is actually having true, so feature home is not equal 0, right? First condition. Other than that, what else the country is, I will just use that condition. Let's see, is feature, so I think it's called featured in, yeah, featured in whatever, then the country name. So how can I get the country name here? So from our country data and then featured in, right? Country data featured in. That's it. Actually, it's tell us two information. All the logic here until if else we completed, right? It's not completed. We just applied some condition on the base query, right? Featured. I want to get all the featured user from the base query and get. The next, I want to get all the users featured man. Look at this, man and woman, right? For each countries. So if I try to do this, look at that. If we do this, what would be happen? Actually, this query would be overwriting here, right? So we cannot do this. How can we overcome this situation? I want to keep this base query as it is with this condition, and then based on our specific things, country or a specific gender, so I will try to write comparing this one as fresh things. We can do it something called clone. That's it. Now at least it's not overwriting this behavior. For example, this behavior won't overwrite here, or this behavior doesn't actually affect here, right? Next, do for woman. What we did actually, we get based on the country, we get based on all the users, and based on the gender. All have done. The next things, we just need to pass this one to specific view. Let's copy enter things here, and this country name. All right, perfect. It seems it's actually having some sort of the same behavior, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the next things, I just need to tag this one in the route, right? Instead of, why not? I just comment it out, index. With any luck, I think everything would be cool, and definitely I want to see some sort of improvement, at least in the model and the queries and so on. Let's run. All right, it's not improved, it's actually worse. It's moved into the 1200 queries instead of 9, and the model is actually improved 33,600 or 700 around model hydration. Look at that time, and the megabyte is actually improved. Now, I think the problem is only we didn't run the eagle load. What I need to do, I just copied this eagle loading here. Now, if you run this code, by any luck, I think it would be changed huge. All right, now I can see that still it's bringing to the 9 queries and 7,350 model hydration. And actually it's improved, but model hydration is still 7,000. First of all, I feel that dumping every single data, whatever we are getting from the database, is not a good idea. What we can improve here, we can do some sort of paginated data here. So let's do it. Let's see what I can improve here if I put paginated instead of get. So all of the data are paginated, right? Now if we refresh this page, it's much smoother and fasting, loading so fast. And now look at that, it's moving into the queries 12 instead of 9. Model hydration is 450. Memory uses 3 megabyte, and it's loading everything is 124 millisecond, right? This is improvement because of the pagination. Now this means that even paginated data is not actually helping us so much, right? So what else we can do? Let's say I can think of, maybe we can, instead of using eager loading, we can do some sort of lazy loading. And I want to put it back to the get. I want to see how much we can improve instead of paginated data. Now, 9 queries, 7,350 model hydration, 26 megabyte and 277 milliseconds to load everything. Now, instead of this, I think we can, and now I want to do it lazy load. For example, here, user featured. Now, what I did actually, I just lazy load the user, this two relationship here, because we are actually, let's try. If we run this, it's moved to the 5 queries, and now model hydration is actually moved to the 4,900. It's much improved, better at least, comparing to the previous one. The time, I think, yeah, everything seems improved. What else I can do? Now I feel that, okay, now I need paginate. If I do refresh, now look at that. We improve the queries to 8, model hydration is 250, and total 3 megabyte memory uses and 93 milliseconds. This is much better. Now what we need to do, some sort of pagination things. Before that, I think we can improve something here. We're checking if empty. I don't want to do this. I know that I have a data, so I don't need to check it. Second, this is only for what? For, I think, serial number, right? What I will do, I just take off this one, and then I put a key here. Enough. Let's see. It's actually, we're getting the same record, right? Perfect. Now what else we can do? We have this man specifically checking gender, so we don't need, because we need to display everything, right? Take off. Now we can see that everything is actually loading properly. Any other things we can improve here? Username. We are checking if empty, this featured since, then we are doing some sort of formatting. It's coming from user, right? If I go for open user, I think we can use cast since. We can do date time. Now I can easily do it. At least I should get the same result. Yep. Okay, what else? Featured in, that's fine. Created it. Membership type, gender. All right. There is something called if empty featured user city. I think I will get the same result. At least I'm getting same record without having any issue. It's much cleaner. What else? If we have a photo, then we're printing out here. In the user model, create a method, it's called profile photo. And that is my expectation. What I will do, I just copy the entire things here, and let's see how can we improve from here. Return. What I'm actually doing, I don't need, this should be enough. So which means, I think I made user, it could be this, yeah, this. All right, so which means if I call this will actually provide me this link. Let's see. I think with any luck, it should have the same effect without having anything breaking. Perfect. Now our queries is 250 model hydration, 8 queries. It's much better, at least reasonable comparing to this. Let's see in our code whether we can improve more on these specific things. I think I can do some sort of improvement here. Here, instead of clone, I was thinking maybe I don't need, I just base queries. Perfect, then I load. Next, instead of cloning the base query again, I want to use this user featured. Let's try this. I think this would improve a lot, at least a bit. So instead of pagination, I put do it get, right? Could be here, done. Let's see what we can get it. Now we are getting everything, all the data dumping into the one page with 3 queries and 3675 model hydration, 17 megabyte of the space, and then 221 milliseconds. Now, if I look into that, dumping everything is much better. Now, one thing missing is called pagination, right? So how can we add pagination here? Paginate here. Now we are actually loading 50 data. Let's refresh. We are getting 50 data with 4 queries, 150 model hydration, 2 megabyte and 78, almost 79 milliseconds. I think this is a huge improvement comparing to the initial stage. That was actually 2453 queries and 7900 model hydration. And now it's moved into 48 megabytes. Now I think this result is much better. The only things left is if I provide some sort of pagination things. Let's say after this table, everything is good with the paginated data, 1225 results. I think this is much improvement, right? All 50 data we are visualizing to the admin user with 4 queries, 150 model hydration, 2 megabyte of spaces, and 103 millisecond. I think it's a huge improvement. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you feel that you can make this piece of code better, and in terms of optimization or tweaking, definitely you can share your thoughts in the comment section below. I will really appreciate your comments. Thank you very much for watching.